Thank you, Janelle, and welcome to all the listeners out there today. Allow me to introduce myself. My name's Kerre Burley, and I am coming to you from the SaverPlus program. And I'd like to say that I'm really very grateful to be here, and also very, very happy to share with you that we are. I am an ex-homeschooler. I've even got a picture of my son in the second slide, just to prove to you guys that, boy, do I know the hard work that you do. And I think that gives me great joy to actually share with you the SaverPlus, share with you the opportunities that are out there for you. So thank you. I know I've got people listening today, and I know this is being recorded. So the official title today is Discover SaverPlus and its educational rewards. Now, I realise there'll be some people that have heard of SaverPlus, some people that haven't. So hopefully today I talk about everything very quickly in a bit of a nutshell, give you as much information as I can, and then at the end we've got time for questions. So the lovely Janelle is looking after my PowerPoint. Thank you, Janelle. If we can go to the next slide. And the next slide is really just talking about, as I mentioned, my intention. My intention is that you all, at the end of the 30-minute session today, know exactly what the program is. And I guess my passion that goes along with that, I guess you could say that intention, is I really want to talk to you about the long-term benefits from not only for yourself but for your children from being on the program. And I'm extremely fortunate because I am a SaverPlus coordinator. I have enjoyed the role immensely for not only what it brings to parents but also what it brings to the children. And that's where I wanted to really direct this talk. And as I said, that is my lovely son Sean, who basically I used to say he was a homeschool nightmare, but he wasn't really. We did homeschooling when we went to Vietnam, and I must admit it was it's a lot more difficult than people believe. And so it's great that you guys have these opportunities with conventions and keeping up with each other. That wasn't around when I did homeschooling, but I mean, what a great opportunity. So yes, my intention is also to share with people the next steps towards the end. So if you like what you hear today and you think, Kerre, I want to find out more, then I've done my job. And I do apologise for anybody. We had a few technical issues at the end, so the 45 minutes has turned into 30, but that's okay. I can talk very quickly. Thanks, Janelle. Now, you may have quickly picked up in that very short presentation that SaverPlus has in fact been around since 2003, about 2004. So we're getting into our 20-year period. So this program has been around very, very a long time. And you can see there that we've helped over 50,000 families in Australia, which is an enormous amount. But it's been probably now since COVID, this is the time that we've really been able to expand. We're in over 60 communities throughout Australia. And it's not only open to families. I will also mention that if there's anybody that's over 18 that is actually studying uni or TAFE or extra courses, it also applies to them. So to give you a grand scale picture here, this program has been around for a long time. And as you can see there, there's been over $21 million matched to people that have been on the program. It's an extraordinary amount and one that we're quite proud of. And I do want to share with you today, because we've been around for so long, some of the stats that actually come back to us after this amount of time and tell us what the benefits are for people. Thank you, Janelle. I need a little Tinkerbell, don't I? Okay, so let me start off by sharing with you that you do need to be eligible, and there is an eligibility criteria. And again, just be aware that this program was set up to help people on lower incomes or people that were struggling. So what we look for is anyone that has a pensioner healthcare card, anyone with a Centrelink healthcare card or a pensioner concession card. And also I'm told there's a low income healthcare card as well. So anyone that has one of these cards is over 18, as I mentioned, and has some regular income from work. Now, let me clarify that. So we're not looking for people who are working full time. Many of you are already working with the kids at home. We're looking for anyone that has a little bit of part-time, a little bit of surplus income, so that you might get child support, you might be on a carer's pension as well, you might do a little bit of cash in hand or a little bit of seasonal work. And we look for about $12.50 a week. Now, you probably go, Kerry, that's very small, but it basically is just the amount that we encourage people to save. And if you can put together $12.50 a week, just make sure that goes into our dedicated account, then you basically have, you're eligible for the program. And everybody on today, as I know, are homeschoolers. So whether you have children at school or if you're homeschoolers, that also, anywhere in Australia, also makes you eligible. Thank you, Janelle. And I want to very quickly explain how it works. Now, before I go any further, I want to say there is 4 steps to it. And Dallas, I'll grab that question in a moment, but definitely the 4 steps I'll explain very quickly, and I'll explain how the process works. As I've already mentioned, the very first thing we do when we meet with people who are eligible, we help them find a goal. So we help them think of where particularly would you like to put some funds into your children's education. So I would imagine for many of you, it might be, yes, that we need a device. We might need laptops. You might need desks to set the school up. You might need, if the kids are growing, you might need perhaps get them into sport. They need uniforms. They need extracurricular activities. Maybe you're looking at swimming or sport. Any of those things can be covered by our match savings. So we really like to sit down with you as parents and go, okay, well, tell me what your situation is and what would you ultimately like to get to spend with your match savings. And then we encourage people, we show them how to just put that little bit of money aside each week for a 10-month period. So it's not a long time. Many of you know it goes quite quickly. And then what happens along the way, on the 11th month, the bank comes in and actually matches your savings dollar for dollar up to $500. And it's the lovely ANZ Bank who have been in partnership with us for all those years. So the requirements, and there's normally 3 requirements. The first requirement is that whatever the ANZ Bank match your savings up to $500, that gets spent towards your goal. So that gets spent towards the kids. Whatever you've saved, you keep. But what you've saved, basically, what the bank provides you with, that goes towards all those ideas that I said before. Maybe sport, maybe extracurricular activities. Maybe you need new desks for them. You need things in the house. Maybe you need the devices, maybe anything at all. That's the first request. The second requirement is that you attend 5 money-minded workshops. And before, I'm going to spend more time on the money-minded workshops than anything else, because even though many people join the SaverPlus for the money, I can tell you that the gold is actually in the education. It's just giving people, empowering parents like yourself with more tips and hints and ideas just to make your money stretch. And in the olden days, we used to have people come into the classroom. But of course, now we're virtual. So much like we're doing now, we've got parents who can tune in at days and times that suit them, and they can listen to these 1.5-hour segments. And they, as I said, they are the gold. So let me just quite quickly say, once that's done, you've achieved with your 5 money-minded workshops in 10 months of consistently putting that little money away. That's when you get to be a successful money-minded person on the 11th month, which again helps so much with the kids. So it's a great program. And if I can just jump in here, yes, the money sessions, Dallas, you are right. The money sessions are brilliant, and they are certainly my favorite. But can I tell you that often when one of those requirements we briefly spoke about was that we do want parents to have a little bit of money apart from coming into their household, and so that regular act of saving $12.50, if you can manage $12.50 a week, that basically doesn't put any heartache or any more financial stress on parents. So if you have a pension, or you have the pension coming in, and you maybe have family allowances and you have no other money coming in to the household, we understand that that's survival money. That's money that you're just hanging in with. So we don't have people coming into the program unless they've comfortably got that little bit of leeway. And, Dallas, some parents find that they go and recycle bottles. Some parents get a little bit of cash in hand, an hour or two a week work. That's enough then to make you eligible and put you on the program. And so there are circumstances, and there is a little bit of wiggle room, but that's the main reason that we do want a little bit of extra information, an extra income coming in. As a carer, if you are on a carer allowance, then yes, you are eligible, because that's additional income coming in. So next one, if I can. Thank you, Dallas, for that question, by the way. I think that's many people tonight today would like to know that, but I like to explain it as well, so you know. Now, the money-minded workshops, and Dallas was right. He loves the idea of this. Can I tell you that, yes, we now have the convenience of people learning from home. So there's no need for public transport. There's no need for babysitting. As you all know, we let technology do the work for us. We Zoom in on days and times that suit. And probably the most important part, and I'm quite honest with this, is often I encourage parents to blur their back screen, but have the kids in the room as well, because some of the things that we cover are so good for the children to hear. And as you all know, financial literacy, or empowering somebody with good, solid financial skills, sets you up for life. And so thank you, Janelle. The next one. Some of the topics that we share basically with our parents not just changes their mindset towards financial empowerment, but actually really I see parents starting to get hope. I see parents who once didn't think they were very good with money, and I see them get better and better and better as they come to our financial workshops. And, I can tell you, if you listen to the media, we know petrol's going up, we know groceries are going up, we know energy prices are going through the roof. And we get a lot of parents who are quite nervous about that, who are a little bit, we're all getting a little bit, I guess you could say, a little bit fearful of what's to come. What's nice is to give people skills to actually not be frightened and not be anxious about these things that are coming, because they're learning to manage their money a little bit better. And you can see on the screen there, and this again, I'm going to talk about stats, but can I tell you the average Australian, and that's across the board, we have a financial wellness score, and the average Australian is 59. Now, I know that's probably not overly great, but that's figure that came up with an average Australian is a 59 financial wellbeing score. Many people who start with us on the program, and I would say the average, their financial score was 36. So a lot lower. And that could be because they're lower income. They've never had the experience with money. They've never been taught certain skills. And I can tell you that it's quite proud as a coordinator to know that at the end of the program, that's the end of 10 months after just putting a bit of money aside and attending the money-minded workshops, that we now know that our participants, our successful participants, have raised their financial wellbeing score from 36 to 64, which is higher than the average. And that's a great starting point for many of us to basically be quite proud of. Thanks, Danelle. Okay, so I did say I will spend a little bit more time talking about the money-minded sessions, because I do believe they're gold, and I did want to really empower people, or let people know today that if you're eligible and if you take part in this program, then you will basically be covering these topics. Now, session 1 is all about goals and goal setting. And before anyone goes running out of the room, I would imagine, as homeschooling parents, that you would actually be setting your children up at the beginning of every year with certain goals. And we're no different. But what we love to do with our parents is we really get them to think about goals that they'd given up with. For instance, there's, parents who said, I'd love to have a holiday, but we can't afford it. I'd love to do this, but I can't afford it. And so in that first session, we talk about smarter goals. We start teaching people how to do a bit of a budget and how to plan and how to get a little bit ahead of the game. And then we get into session 2, which is all about saving and spending. And I would imagine if there's many of us that know we're really good at spending, but not so good at saving. And, sometimes it's just a bit of a mind flip. Sometimes it's just a bit about teaching people about priorities, teaching people about spending leaks, and I might just have a bit of a fun game with spending leaks if we have time, and that's the money that we have in one hand and we don't know where it goes. It just mysteriously evaporates. Then you can see in session 3 we do start to talk about banking options and how a lot of people have no idea about the different accounts, and they only think there's 1 or 2 accounts. So we talk about how, as consumers, we're more powerful, and then we actually talk about, it's the elephant in the room, and there might be some families on tonight. We talk about credit and debt and how basically you can be very vulnerable when you are on a lower income, and you can be vulnerable because you don't have that skill to put a little bit of money aside for a rainy day. And then on the very last one, which I always think is incredible, is we do encourage and we explain to people very simply what superannuation is, how you should be monitoring it, and if it's working for you. And even if you're not working, it's great for you to know about how super works, because we know we won't always be in these situations. And we talk about, some of the traps to get into and how to make sure you don't have too many super funds. We talk about insurances. And so the money-minded sessions are really part of the gold. And I absolutely love that Dallas has got the right idea. I love that we're sharing all this information with parents for the benefit of the families, but often the kids are basically getting involved as well. And as you know, it's never too early to start teaching children how they can manage their money. Okay, so here's just a couple of comments that came back from parents, and the first one was very recent, as much as last week this came through to us. It's been a great experience. I've learnt a lot, and I realised I have relearnt some things that I had forgotten and don't do anymore, and that was one of my participants, so I've popped that up there because it's so current. And then this one was about a month ago. We had a lovely lady who, after the first week, wrote back to us and said, Kerre, I am saving $150 a week from just one tip in the first Money Minded session. How awesome am I going to be by the end of Money Minded number 5? And I must tell you, it was a tip. It wasn't even a big tip. It was a tip that we were talking about how you could actually pre-plan your meals at home. You could basically be utilizing the freezer and buying in bulk. And many of us know these things, but have either forgotten them or had just not realized that when you do that and you start taking your lunches to work instead of going and buying lunches every day, there's a considerable saving. So thanks, Janelle. The best, and I was going to say, we've talked about all the benefits, but can I tell you the best stat of all that we know happens with the SaverPlus is that 8 years on, and this was also mentioned in the video, 8 years on, 80% of our participants are still saving. So you will find that, yes, the families join the SaverPlus program, they are rewarded with the $500 that goes towards the kids' educational needs. But 8 years later, those families are still putting money aside. And it doesn't have to be a lot, but they're still saving. So with the money-minded sessions and creating these habits, that's making a big difference. And as you saw, that's made a big difference to over 50,000 families in Australia. And it's only going to continue. Thanks, Janelle. So I have time. I didn't know if I'd have time, but I do have time now to actually talk about, have an activity, that one of these activities that we would do in a money-minded session. And I am sure there are people listening to the recording. There are people on tonight. Let the chat do the work. How would you like to think about what we call is a spending leak? Now, let me explain. A spending leak is something that you do almost unconsciously, that you just basically do it because you've done it for forever and a day. It might be a little bit of a habit, and it might only be for a very small amount of money, and you don't think it matters. Now, I'm going to call on 2 people, if I can, to actually put in the chat if does that describe anything that you possibly would do? So it's going to take a bit of courage, but is there anybody there? And I can give you my example. Many years ago, I worked in Melbourne and I used to get 3 coffees a day. Why did I get 3 coffees a day? Well, I like my coffee. What was really bizarre is I worked in an office that had its own coffee maker, but I still used to run downstairs and I used to buy 3 coffees. So I'm going to fess up here. Is there anybody else that wants to fess up? Just pop in there. Dallas, do you want to pop in there if you know that you have a habit that could be called a spending leak? Oh, thank you, Janelle. Yes, definitely buying bottled water. That'd be fine. Are you meaning, Janelle, let's talk about where you're buying bottled water. Is it from when you basically get the service station? Oh, well, Dallas, that's all right. We can play with that. Janelle, buying bottled water, would that be from the service station, from the 7-Eleven shop? Because I can see where you're going with here. Yes, I've got you. Okay. So and that's perfect. Janelle's basically saying when the kids go out, often they forget their bottled water. And so you have to go buy water. I totally get that. So if we look at a spending leak, so yeah, Janelle, that would be a spending leak. I'm going to go back to my coffee if I can, and then I'm going to pick on Janelle's water and we'll see if we can actually make some savings. A spending leak for me used to be, I used to pay in Melbourne $6.50 a cup of coffee. And literally I used to do that 3 times a week. So is there anybody that has hands-free? Don't you, Dallas, because I know you're driving. Pick up your phone. I want you to get your phone. I want you to get it on the calculator. And this is a great activity for the kids as well. If you get it on the calculator, I want you to put down very clearly that Kerre was spending, as much as I hate to admit it, probably $20 a week. $20 a day on coffee. And I could have easily been buying coffee doing coffee from my office. Now, if you look at $20 a day and then you times that by 5 days, I hate to admit it, anybody come up with a figure? If not, you can always get the kids to do this later. 5 days, $20 a day. Actually, I was spending $100 a week. Thanks, Dallas, $100 a week on coffee. Now, apart from my 2 weeks holiday, now we get a bit scary when we times that by 50 weeks. I used to work 50 weeks. I was very much in a rut. You times that by...
I couldn't quite hear you.
Oh, even Siri wants to get into the act. If you actually times $100 by 50, Dallas has got it. There's $5,000 a year I was just spending that I didn't need to. I could have quite easily kept drinking my coffee from work and basically saved the money. Now, if we then flick over, that's what I call a spending leak. It's something I was unconscious. Once I become conscious of it, and once I've done the figures, boy, can you make a better decision. Like, Kerre, stop it. That's an overseas holiday that you're wasting on coffee. And this is what we teach people. We do it every time. Janelle's right. Teaching the children basically to, thank you. You can go to the next one if you like. Teaching the children to be aware of spending leaks, also make it easy. And here's one that we did earlier, which was a goal from a parent. They said to me they'd never been on a holiday before. But again, by teaching them to just put $10 away a week and then working backwards from when they wanted to go on holidays, this mother was able to save, and you can see there, she was able to save money, $820 in a short period of time, and was able to take the kids to Nambucca Heads for a camping holiday, which they never, ever thought they could do. So knowing where you're putting your money and prioritizing your money makes a difference. And Janelle, yes, by teaching the kids that if they worked out how much money you're spending on the bottles of water that they keep forgetting, it's interesting how you can actually do a shift and get a little bit more organized. But that was something that we do in our second Money Minded workshop. And a lot of people come up with when you go to buy a paper, when you go to the post office, one was a post office, there's always a bakery next door where you'd buy the coffee and the cake, or maybe you'd buy coffee and cake before you do your shopping. Maybe you buy chocolates once you've filled up with petrol. There's always these little spending leaks that we like to point out to people that we do unconsciously. So thank you, Dallas. Thank you for using your mathematical genius. Can we go to the next one, Janelle? Okay, so I am going to just finish up by letting you know that there are many success stories from parents that have been single mums, single dads, grandparents, carers. We will actually send you, if I can go to the next slide, Janelle, you are more than welcome to go to our website and basically have a look at some of the testimonials. Have a look at the parents and the families and the students that over the years have actually made this work for them. So what I wanted to do today, if it's okay, is anybody who would like more information, by all means, take a note of the email, our website, and there is a national office that you can actually ring, a SaverPlus office. You can ring and find out more information, or put in an inquiry, and somebody would get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. Otherwise, if you again would like to ask me any questions, or you'd like to pop your name, your postcode, and just your phone number, you can pop that into the chat as well. And I can ensure that one of the lovely SaverPlus coordinators, whoever we are, will contact you again Monday or Tuesday and actually check and talk to you about your eligibility. So you've got a couple of options there. But as I said, my main thing today was to explain to you a little bit about the SaverPlus, knowing what it can do for families, knowing how it helps families, that's parents and kids, with some of that financial management. In fact, we're empowering you to get better, and then also be rewarded at the end with purchasing or contributing money towards the kids' needs. So, Janelle, I've managed to do it. I'm just 2 minutes over. So that's my 45-minute session in 30 minutes. And by all means, please pop a question in if you've got a question. Or, as I said, pop your name, phone number, and your postcode so we can get the right person to get back to you. It's been a blast, and thank you very much, everybody.
That was fantastic, Kerre. You can stay and chat for anybody who is still around. For a little bit more. I think the recording will stop at some point, but I think that you're good to stay and have a little bit of a chat. if anybody wants to turn on their microphones and cameras and have a chat to Kerre. And yeah, hopefully, I thought that was really, really interesting. This will go into the replay section for the rest of the conference for anybody who is in the conference but couldn't make it to this session. It's always difficult. People have sports for their kids and that sort of thing. So I'm going to leave to go and get ready for the next presentation, but I'll leave you here with the people. And hopefully when I leave it will all stay good and you're still in the session. I
want to say thank you very much. You were a godsend today.
No problem, Kerre. So wonderful to have you. Thanks.
No worries.